What's going on? It's your man Marcus Miller. You're watching Upfront TV. CD's called Marcus. I figured I'd make it easy. I figure it's easy to remember the name, but also I called it Marcus because I wanted to show people really what I'm about this time. So I opened it up, man. I got a little bit of funk, a little bit of jazz. We got some spoken word on there. You know, I got some nice guest artists: Corinne Bailey Ray, Kev Moe. We got David Sanborn on there, Tom Scott. So it's a really, really nice, really interesting mix. I'm really happy with it. You know, I'll get out there and talk to young musicians because I think it's really important to give them a different perspective, you know. I try to encourage them to not rely on the videos, the music videos so much, because a lot of guys, they learn visually now. They just look, they just want to see what you're doing and then repeat it. And I try to encourage them to use their ears. It's harder, but it makes you a better musician, you know. Stop trying to figure out how somebody does something and try to figure out why they do it. What makes that sound so cool, or what makes that sound so interesting, or whatever. So I figured it's, you know, I got something to tell kids. So before a show, I'll, you know, maybe take some time and talk to some young musicians. I think that it's really important, man, for the young musicians to talk to the older guys, you know what I mean? And try to understand what they've been through. A lot of young guys, they turn their ears off when the older guys start talking. But I've always been, man, fascinated by what the older guys have to say. Matter of fact, I call one of my albums Tales. And it was dedicated to those stories that Joe Sample would tell me, that Miles would tell me, that all these, you know, Bill Withers would tell me, man. It's like, stuff is invaluable, man, because it all comes back around, man. And if you listen to enough stories, you start to realize it's really all about the same thing, man, you know. Finding that note, finding that phrase in music that makes people feel something. Studied classical clarinet from age 10 through college. At about age 13, I picked up electric bass and played that in the R&B bands, the dance bands. Eventually, I began to play jazz at the same time. So I had the clarinet in one hand and the bass guitar in the other hand for most of my teen years. On the bass, my influences are James Jamerson, Larry Graham, Stanley Clarke, Jaco Pastorius, Ron Carter, Paul Chambers, you know. But I was listening to everybody. You know, I had some good lessons, man, because I was in Miles's band, man. I was following Herbie Hancock. I was following all these musicians who were always trying to incorporate new things into their music, you know. If a new go-go beat came out, Miles wanted to know what it was, you know. If there's a new electronic music, Herbie wanted to know what was going on with it, you know. And that's inspiring to see musicians always wanting to grow, always wanting to constantly change their music and have it evolve. So I think I'm trying to carry on that tradition of keeping the music growing.